Okay, so thank you so much for agreeing to do this interview and just kind of sharing a little bit about your experience in therapy.
Of course.
So, what led to your decision to seek therapy originally?
Um, I was in a relationship that was having a lot of issues, and I couldn't really figure out where those issues were stemming from, and like what to do about them. And I was pretty confused in general about how to handle some like pretty significant problems I was having. And I felt just kind of like on the verge of just collapsing out of the confusion and distress. And I just needed somebody to help.
Okay. And were there any doubts that you had about was this the first time you had seen a therapist?
Yeah, I had seen a therapist like briefly as a child, but this is the first time in my adult life seeing a therapist.
Okay, so given that it was your first time, did you have any doubts about what it would be like or if it would work or just any concerns that might have led to you not following through with seeking therapy?
Yeah, and I think I've avoided it for a while largely because of the perceived difficulty and like finding a therapist and like knowing who to choose, and just it seemed a bit cumbersome. And
Mhm.
difficult to find someone good, so I was avoiding it. And I got to this point where I felt like I just needed it, and was able to do video sessions, and that was really helpful.
Yeah, so since you just brought it up, what's your opinion of video sessions? I know you don't have an in-person experience as an adult with a therapist to compare it to, but would you recommend video sessions to somebody else?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know that I would have even done therapy if it wasn't so convenient. I had looked for some in-house therapy sessions and just couldn't like find a way to make it work with my work schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And I found like good results with the video option. So I would definitely recommend it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and I know that we are able to meet when you're at work, which is great versus
Yeah.
on break, so that's always nice. Um, so what have you found as a result of working with me so far?
I found a lot of, well, the first thing, I was a bit in distress about my relationship, and was able to get a good understanding of a lot of the root causes of what was going on there, and able to like address those and like feel like I was making informed choices around that relationship. So that was like the biggest thing I was looking for, and that happened. And I also had a lot of like self-realizations in my own communication style and like other things, around like handling my own anxiety. And so like my initial instinct to get therapy to like figure out my relationship turned into like my own personal growth as well around communication and handling anxiety and some other things as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Um, is there any specific thing that you like most about working with me or just therapy in general?
Um, I mean, I really like that. First of all, your knowledge around um, communication in relationships was like fantastic, and eye-opening. And so that was probably like the biggest thing that I needed and grew from. So I think like that's been the most helpful part of working with you, is like working on my own communication and recognizing destructive communication patterns from other relationships in my life, and like learning how to solve those more gracefully. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think, yeah, that's been like my biggest benefit on with working with you for sure.
And you've done a great job with that.
Thank you.
Yes. Um, what would you tell somebody who's never seen a therapist and they're kind of freaked out at the idea and they're not really sure if they should seek therapy?
Do it. Just do it. um, yeah, I mean, I get it. Like I was on the edge for a long time, and like it's hard to make that jump. But I tell people in my personal life all the time now, like having a therapist is fantastic. Like there's so much opportunity for personal growth. Like, and if you know you're having some distress or like relationship issues, then like absolutely just take that plunge. And like, what's the worst that can happen? You know?
Yeah. And actually, since this is kind of a off the top of my head question, but what about if somebody's in a relationship and their partner doesn't want to go to couples therapy? Do you feel like you can still get a lot of benefit as an individual going to therapy when you're having relationship concerns?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think if one person doesn't want to do couples therapy, um, and the relationship is having problems, that could be indicative of, you know, some issues right there. And like, this is part of the problem I had, was like kind of trying to understand what underlying issues I had in my relationship. And by like seeking my own personal therapy with you, I was much like more able to identify some like very negative communication patterns from my partner that I was kind of trapped in, and I don't know that I would have gotten out of them otherwise. So definitely recommend personal therapy if your partner is not open to couples therapy.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a lot you can do to shift communication just on one end, even if your partner's not working on themselves. And then, like
Yeah.
you did, you know, maybe you come to the realization that it's not the right relationship for you, or maybe you're able to shift your communication enough that your partner sees the benefit and they start shifting as a result of your change.
Yeah. And that happened with me too. You know, I identified a lot of issues that we had because, you know, I had some negative
Mm-hmm.
communication patterns as well. And like told my partner that I was working on those and like the pieces I thought she could work on. Um, so even though we didn't go together, we both benefited from it.
Yeah. Okay. And lastly, would you recommend working with me? And if so, why?
Yes, absolutely. Would recommend working with you. Um, so as I said before, I came in to like solve my relationship issues that were causing me so much distress, and like you were very effective at helping me with that and improving my communication and like understanding the relationship issues. And even after all of that was resolved, I just found a lot of other benefits to working with you and other aspects of my life, including like the anxiety and communication with other people and relationships in my life. So it's been very effective. And when I reflect on like where I was before I started working with you and where I am now, like, uh, yeah, it's just really helped me a lot. And I think you have a lot of knowledge that other people would benefit from. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for this interview and for sharing your experience with the world.
Yeah.
um, Anything final that you wanted to add, or do you feel complete?
Um, yeah, I feel pretty complete. I mean, I guess I just reiterate again, like if you're thinking about therapy, it probably means you can benefit from it. And Dr. Sarah will absolutely be able to help, especially if it is a relationship issue. So just do it.
Yes. Well, thank you so much, and take care.
Thanks. You too.